So don't worry, gals. I'm here to help. By utilizing psychology and science, I'll make you the reincarnated male version of Regina freaking George. Let's begin lesson one. The scarcity principle, psychologist Dr. Robert Cialdini has famously proposed in his book, opportunities seem more valuable to us when their availability is limited. We see this quite often in marketing. It explains why billionaires would rather have a lame, slow car that's a one of one than an insanely fast, cool car that's in production. And it's also why everyone tells you nice guys finish last, and why most of the time it's true. It's not because girls don't like nice guys, it's because the nice guys make themselves readily available. And jerks don't really care. Subsequently, their availability is limited and they are seen as a more valuable opportunity. But what they don't tell you is, you don't have to be a jerk to be scarce. In fact, a nice guy displaying himself in a way that makes him scarce is so rare that by using Dr. Chen's logic of scarcity, it should be 10 times more attractive than your average jerk. So how specifically do you do this? Well, say you see a girl you like at a party surrounded by dudes trying to risk her up. You may think you don't stand a chance, but actually you have the best chance. Walk over to her as her horde of sex workers pass by, and as you do, give her a friendly hello and continue walking. Bonus points if your friend is a girl. If you just say hello and do nothing else, it's like wearing a limited edition sign around your neck. You're not as accessible as the boys in her gremlin gang. You're something that must be sought after or lost forever. Lesson 2. Gain-loss. The gain-loss theory of attraction, which builds on the scarcity principle, provides a more detailed explanation of why nice guys might appear to finish last. A clever study tested this theory by having college volunteers participate in a series of one-on-one meetings. Following the meeting, the volunteer would unintentionally overhear the experimenter describe them in one of four ways, all of which were positive or negative. The results support the idea that winning over people who initially had a negative impression of us is much more rewarding than someone who liked us all along. However, you need to be careful if you're trying to use this on a girl, because trying to demonstrate that someone has left a bad impression can kind of be hard without being a jerk. Initially negative, but becoming positive, or initially positive, but becoming negative when asked later how much they liked the experimenter. Volunteers would expect to like the experimenter when the evaluation was completely positive, but surprisingly, they liked the experimenter even more when the evaluation was initially negative but turned positive. Tone and body language are good ways to do this subtly. You also need to make sure that once you've decided they've won you over, you make it obvious. If the girl doesn't understand and assumes you don't like them, they won't want to be around you, which is a major issue and brings us to the next section. Closeness in Lesson 1. Lesson 3. I told you that you need to be scarce, but it's important to understand that you need to be scarce in terms of attention, not proximity. In a study on friendship formation, researchers asked nearly 300 MIT dormitory residents to list their closest friends. The researchers then looked at where the listed friends lived in the dorms when someone lived one dorm away. There was a 41% likelihood they were listed as a close friend. As the numbers of doors increased, the likelihood decreased, so those living 4 doors away only had a 10% likelihood of being listed as a close friend. You need to be physically near the girl you like, but good proximity isn't just mutual geographical location, it's also frequency. For example, you have a better chance with a girl you see 10 minutes every day than you do with a girl that you see for 1 hour every week. If you don't have good proximity, you stand no chance. So in such a case, you need to create good proximity artificially, but you need to be subtle about this change. Your route to class, to pastor, join a club she's in. Do what you need to do, but please, please don't be creepy. There's a fine line in trying to create proximity and stalking. Do not cross that line. Say you do have good proximity and you've made yourself seem won over. How do you retain her positive feelings towards you? The Ben Franklin effect in Lesson 4. Ben Franklin asked for a ton of favors from everyone he knew, which was the key tremendous his immense popularity. Because you're burdening them with something, you might assume that asking for favors will make them loathe you, yet the exact reverse is true. In a 1971 study conducted at the University of North Carolina, volunteers gave tests to actors posing as other students. Naturally, the volunteers believed they were giving the test to other volunteers, but in reality, they were the subjects. The volunteers were instructed to have the students watch as they tapped out lengthy patterns on wooden cubes using sticks, and the students were then asked to repeat the pattern. Each volunteer was instructed to try two different approaches on two different groups within one group. When the kids in a different group correctly identified the patterns, the volunteers were instructed to offer support. When the students made mistakes, the volunteers were instructed to criticize and insult them. Later, they completed a debriefing questionnaire that asked about the students' overall likability and attractiveness. The students who received the insults were judged as less attractive than the ones who received encouragement, concluding that you like someone more when you treat them kindly, so you should give the girl you like the chance to treat you kindly. A great way to do this is to ask her for small favors, like asking her to drop your pencil in her direction and let her get it for you, or asking her if she'll help you with something you're working on. These small gestures actually work and make you more attractive and active as a person, but nothing I've said in this video matters at all if you ignore the next and possibly most important truth lesson 5, the Discord mod effect. The two researchers asked 117 college students, both male and female, to rate the beauty and emotional response of 76 distinct images of the other sex. The study found that decent posture, evident grooming, well-fitting clothes, a seemingly cheerful attitude, and a healthy weight were more attractive than hereditary qualities. Let me reiterate that the most attractive features are not genetic. If you work out consistently, keep your shoulders back, chin up, take a shower every day, dress nicely, and smile, maybe girls won't be turned off by you when you enter a room. However, if you look like a Discord mod, it doesn't matter. She won't want you. This leads us to lesson 6, which is about luck. It almost always comes down to genetic compatibility, so let's move from psychology to discuss neurobiology. Two factors ultimately determine long-term attraction, and both have the ability to veto almost everything. The first factor is your nose, which detects something called pheromones. These carry genetic and physical information, and if compatible, also trigger a physiological or behavioral response. However, a woman's nose works slightly differently because, in addition to taking in pheromones, it is also sensitive to MHC molecules, which are used to fight disease. Interestingly, in this particular situation, the noses of women smell t-shirts that have been worn by various men. According to the study, women nearly always prefer the smells of people whose MHC molecules are different from their own, which makes sense given how important genetic variety is for survival, particularly when it comes to immunity. The advantage for an offspring is that, regrettably, boys lack that MHC sense. So while we may match up in every way, it may be difficult for her to be romantically attracted to you if your MHC molecules are identical to hers. The second, and perhaps most crucial element of attraction, is the first kiss. The majority of women report losing interest in someone after a bad first kiss because it's such a crucial moment. However, if everything goes well, the nervous system releases norepinephrine, activating the fight-or-flight response, so the heart beats quickly, the pupils dilate, and your energy levels rise. The first kiss is a huge complex exchange of tactile and chemical cues that occurs through the taste of your mouth and the smell of your breath.